So I recently geared up another alt, and I thought I'd take this opportunity to show all you new players out there how to increase your damage. So let's go. First of all, I'm going to start with an assumption that you all have legendary gear or epic gear already by now, because that's usually the first thing you do to get more damage. And I'm just going to do a short test to see how much damage I do. So I'm going to buff. And disclaimer, I do not know a perfect rotation. I'm just pressing buttons. And another disclaimer, I am not going off of a script, so expect a lot of jump cuts. So there you go, 24 bill. So that was gear alone. And the next thing you do is buff swap. I had it unchecked, now it is checked. And you can get that at, let's see, Harlem, Black Market, Sebrin. Sebrin sells you all your buff swap. And it's found over here off to the left, the dungeon, Baba Booey, Operation Hope, and that should increase your damage. We'll do another test with the buff swap. And you can clearly see there was a 20 something to 30 something, an obvious damage increase. Next would be reinforcement. Reinforcement will increase your physical and magical attack considerably. Refine if you're a fixed class, and to tell that if you are fixed or not, just hover over a skill, and if you see these percent signs, that means you're a percent class, and if you don't see these percent signs, you're a fixed class. So if you're fixed, you refine at this dude called June. You go to June and you refine, but this class is percentage, so I don't need that. I will do another test with my reinforcement. And it went from 37 to 51. So that is pretty big. You want to normally reach around plus 11 or plus 12, ideally plus 12 because it's a bigger jump, of course. But if you're short on money, 11 will do just fine. The next considerable thing would be avatars. Avatars and emblems will give you a lot of stats and they'll help you do stuff. I don't know, more stat, more better. That and insignias also will do that same thing. You can get these at your guild area. Let's go to Elvengard. You go to your guild hideout and you get your avatars usually from the cash shop, or you can find them in the auction hall for the current package. And you talk to this with the insignia. You talk to these dudes. You can buy the insignia and you can buy the gems like crit and whatnot. So let's go back to training room. And you see it went from 51 to 60 just from stats alone. Next would probably be your creature, which will be bought from a cash shop item. They will give you modifiers, so try to look for a battle pet, and a title. A title will also give you increase your damage modifiers and whatnot. So you want to look out for pets and titles to increase your damage. And it went from 60 to 71. That is pretty good. We will get to Talismans later, because that's considered end game, and we're trying to get you to end game. Can't really get Talismans without properly optimizing your sets. So next would be enchanting, which is probably the most important in my personal opinion. Most people hang out in Chesstown these days. Enchanter 1. Shout out to Kane Police Blinkish for this. To briefly explain enchants, let's hypothetically say you have 10 damage. Your physical magical independent attack will increase it to 20 damage. Your elemental enchants will give it to 50 damage. You know, generic stats. So when you hit a monster, you do 50. And then if your crit modifier is 100%, you'll double it. So it'll be 100. However, if your crit rate is low, you're not always doing 100. So you want your crit rate to be 100%. So you're always getting that crit in. You don't want to miss a crit because it's huge. And if you already have enchants on prior gear, you can go to Loten to inherit these previous enchants. So you don't have to buy new enchants, but they will cost you Aelites. So with that, I am fully enchanted. I have all Ellie's enchants, my M-Stone, sub, earring, weapon, and that was probably the biggest damage boost. I can't emphasize how much you need enchants. That's probably the first thing raid leaders will look at is your crit and LEs and whatnot. And it went from 70 something to 93. That is good. And that's almost cut line for a synergy in Sirocco. But before you get to Sirocco, you need to get to P-War and get yourself some talismans. I'm just gonna throw in whatever I see first. And I am now over 100. I'm good to go for a Sirocco. And I think that should be it. I think I covered everything. Because F9 is a privileged class, I forget to mention Inflict Ele. You need to use cube contracts to inflict the element of your choice, and that will give you a good damage boost. Thanks for watching. Peace.
Click the bell for notifications.
Smash that like button.
I was just
I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that.
Subscribe.
I don't know how to start these things, so I'm just gonna... Recently, my F9, oh my goodness. So I recently geared up this character, this,